Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make dark beats from scratch for Future. Future just dropped an album a few days ago, and it's definitely one of my favorite albums from this year so far. So I figured I'd go in and show how I approach making dark trap beats similar to the ones that are in his album. I'm going to go through and break down a sample that I made for the beat. The sample's from a sample pack that I just dropped called Dark Tapes Volume 1. It has 20 really dark samples similar to the one that I'm going to be breaking down in the style of like Nardowick, Future, Southside. It's all really dark and ambient, so if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down in the description. But anyways, I'm also going to be breaking down the drums and show everything from scratch. So hopefully you guys learn something new. Hopefully you take something away. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's get right into it. Alright, so as you can see, I have the final sample pulled up here. We're sitting at 166 BPM. As you can see, I pitched the final sample up 3 semitones, and the final sample is in F minor. So everything I'm going to be showing you is in D minor. Then at the very end, I pitched it up 3 semitones from D to F. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play the sample so you can hear how it sounds, and then break down everything I did to make it. So for the first sound in this sample, I used an ambient pad from Analog Lab, and I came up with this pattern right here. Like I said in a lot of my other tutorials, if you're trying to make dark samples, you want to mess around with the half steps a lot. So between A and G sharp, and then right here with G sharp and A, you can see that the notes are going back and forth with half steps, and that just makes it sound really dark. My computer is like about to explode, but that's what it sounds like with all the effects. You have an EQ to take out a lot of the low end and some of the frequencies that I didn't want. I added this plugin, Cymatics Origin, just to make it sound more vintage. And then I have this Portal preset, ambience, and then shaper box to make the volume duck in and out. It's not showing because, again, my computer sucks. Taking out even more of the unwanted frequencies, and then once I had all the effects on it, what I did is I rendered that out. What I did is I pitched it down 4 semitones. So for the next sound, once I had that original pad, I just pulled up another pad preset from Analog Lab, and I copied over the same pattern and just got rid of the bottom note because it was too, like, I had too much low end. This is what that sounds like. The first pad is more of the high end, and then the second pad is more of the low end. And then for the effects, I just added an EQ to take out a lot of the high end and a lot of the very low end, and then added some reverb, and then a Portal preset. That's something that I do a lot when I make dark samples, and I've noticed a lot of other people do it too when they're trying to make something really dark, is that they'll just layer sounds and add a bunch of effects, and it's not really about the MIDI. Like I said, I literally copied the MIDI from the first sound to the second sound and then just layered them, and to me it sounded really good, really dope. You want to make sure to just have 2 different sounds. Like I said, the first one kind of fills up the high end, and the second one kind of fills up the low end. You don't really need anything too complex with the MIDI or too much going on. You just want to have, you know, some layers and a lot of effects to make it sound unique. So for the third sound, I just pulled up this one shot, this kit right here, the Soundwaves one shot kit. It's literally just a one shot sound that just kind of evolves. So I just dragged that in and I chopped it up. And for the effects, I added a bunch. I added thermal, fresh air, Cymatics Origin again to make it sound more vintage, some delay, some reverb, an EQ to take out some unwanted frequencies, and then another EQ to take out the low end and that same unwanted frequency, and then shaper box. Next thing I did is I pulled up this preset in Contact called the Female Choir Staccato from the Orchestra plugin. Really simple. I'll go ahead and show what it sounds like. And then you can go in here if you have this bank in Contact, and you can change like what you want the phrases to say, and you can mess around with the reverb and stuff like that. But I added a bunch of effects to that as well. I added some delay, thermal, fresh air, this preset from Valhalla Ubermod that just kind of adds some modulation and like a delay and reverb, a little bit of halftime, and then a lot of reverb, and then an EQ to take out the very low end. So once I had those sounds, I just added a bass, really simple, just followed the root note with one note pretty much as simple as you can get with the root note at D. And then for the effects, I just added some decapitator for some distortion. Yeah, once I had all the sounds that I wanted, I just arranged it. And to be honest, this sample is nothing crazy. It's really simple. Just 2 pads, the 1 shot, and then the choir. Sometimes things will sound a lot darker when there's less going on, so I just broke it down into different sections, and then took out the bass for the second half of the sample, and then put the stems at the end, like always. Once I had it all arranged, I just rendered it out, brought it back in, and then pitched it up 3 semitones, so we went from D minor to F minor. And then I put it to its own mixer track, and I added mid-side plugin. Of course, it's not going to show because my computer's bugging. Basically, that makes the sample sound a lot wider. If you don't have that plugin, definitely get it. Definitely recommend. Fresh air just to boost some of the high end, and then a compressor, which also is not going to show, but that's a good compressor plugin right there. Once I had the sample how I wanted it, I just brought it in, chopped it up, and added drums. And for all the drums in this beat, I used my slide drum kit. And as you can see, it has a go-to drums folder with all my go-to drums, and then another folder with kind of like more unique, different sounding. A total of over 120 sounds, a really good drum kit. First thing I did for this beat is I picked out a clap, and then for the pattern, it's just a really simple clap pattern. Next thing I did is I picked out a really sharp sounding hi-hat, and I laid down this pattern right here. Nothing too crazy. So the next thing I did is I added an 808, and I added this long distorted 808 because I noticed a lot of the 808s on Future's album were distorted. Yeah, I came up with that first pattern right there. And if you haven't listened to Holy Ghost yet by Future, I definitely recommend listening to it, because throughout the beat there's a pitch change with the sample and the drums. I'm pretty sure that the sample and the drums get pitched down 5 semitones, like back and forth. It gets pitched down 5 semitones and then back up. So I did that in this beat. I pitched it down 2 to D sharp, and then I have a second section where I pitched everything down 5 semitones. So this one's pitched down 2, we're in D sharp, and then for this part right here we're in A sharp minor, and I pitched it down 7 semitones from the original. Came up with the second pattern right here. Yeah, like I said, if you listen to Holy Ghost, this is definitely inspired by that. So next I added some snares, and I'll go ahead and play it in context so you can hear it with all the other drums. But something I noticed again about the beats on Future's album is that in a lot of the beats there's like a lot of snares going on, and they're kind of pitched up and down, so I kind of went with that. Then I added a second snare right here. It sounds like this. I don't really know exactly what I want to lay down for the roll. I'll just kind of like fill out all the notes and then play the beat and then hear it in context and just add what sounds good. That's just kind of like a little trick that I learned. Next thing that I did is I just added this really generic open hat. Once I had all the drum sounds that I wanted, I just arranged the beat. I have an intro right here and an outro. Other than that, I kind of just switch back and forth with the pitch changes. There's no real structure to this for like a hook or a verse. I just went with what sounded good to me. And the final thing I added to this beat was this triangle perk. Once I had the beat arranged, I made sure to mix the beat, and shout out Only One from 808 Mafia. I downloaded one of his drum kits recently, and he has some mixer presets in there that I threw on the master. It's just a multi-band compressor, a soft clipper, and then this plugin Wave Candy right here. I honestly don't even know what it does, but makes the beat sound really clean. But I threw that on the master, and then for everything else, it's just leveling. It's just making sure that the volumes are good. I'll start with the 808, and I'll make sure that the 808 is hitting above 0 dB. So that it's clipping a little bit, and then I'll mix everything around it. And another trick you can use is you can pull up a beat that you listen to. You can kind of use it as like a reference track. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the beat. And that's how I go about making dark beats for somebody like Future. Like I said, definitely inspired by his new album. The sample that I use in this video is from Dark Taste Volume 1, a sample pack that I just dropped recently. I'll leave a link down in the description for that. Also, my slat drum kit, I used all the drums in this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you took something away.
Daniel
and
Taylor.
yeah, I'll see you in the next video.